So roadworks for building construction part 3. What is roads? So this slides, all the slides yang ada kat sini is not prepared by me, but I will just voice over and teach you guys through Google Meet. What is road? Basically, all of you know what is road. Yang you guna jalan untuk atas kereta, you guna jalan kaki. Jalan kaki is also considered, you know, the pedestrian walk, that is also considered as pedestrian, as road. So let's see the definitions. A line of communication using a stabilized base open to public traffic, primarily for the use of road, motor vehicles, and also includes bridges, tunnels, supporting structures, junction, crossing, and toll roads. So these are the roads that used by the vehicles, but macam I cakap tadi, pedestrian walk can also be considered as part of the road. Ways that allow the movement of motor vehicles, access to the buildings, external work, circulation around the buildings yang kat tepi-tepi, semua tu selalunya, yang itu semua adalah part of the roads. The road construction consists of earthwork construction, curb, drain, marking. We will go through, okay, one by one later. So I just want to cut short the time. Asphalt concrete, ada yang masuk lambat ni pula. Siapa yang lambat tu, I'm not going to accept because I need to chase the time. Asphalt concrete, commonly called asphalt concrete. Yang asphalt is the, you tahu tak yang macam binder dekat atas tu, normally it's black in color. Okay, black top, dia ada campur tar, tarmac or bitumen macadam in Great Britain and Ireland is composite material commonly used for surface. Dekat dia punya atas tu surface. It's either rigid road ataupun flexible road. Normally dekat atas tu kita ada pakai asphalt concrete. Dan kalau you bawa kereta, you can actually feel it. Sama ada it's a rigid road ataupun flexible road. Yang tu kita akan pergi kejap lagi. Okay, so I'm sure most of you, I rasa most of you have seen yang jalan raya hitam kan? Takkan tak pernah tengok jalan raya. So I think you have seen jalan raya hitam. Okay, the first step you want to do road work is you preparation ataupun earthwork. A thorough soil investigation to determine the nature of subgrade. So I'm not going to open the hyperlink here. Soil investigation adalah penyiasatan tanah yang you guys are going to learn next semester in semester 4. So basically, typically for soil investigation, they will test the bearing load of the soil. Berapa banyak soil tu stable or unstable, atau you kena buat improvement of the soil. Okay, so yang itu semua dekat dalam soil investigation. Subgrade carry the traffic loads from the pavement above. Okay, kalau you belajar bangunan and you have like buildings, you know, like buildings we have two types. Satu kita panggil load bearing and the other one is structure bearing. So structure bearing means you ada columns and beams. So kalau beam dia transfer load horizontally and then loads akan pergi vertically. Lepas tu you will have a pile cap, daripada pile cap then you akan transfer load kepada piling and from piling you akan distribute load kepada tanah. But untuk jalan raya, because it's like that, it's horizontal, so kita punya kereta pun lalu dekat atas horizontal. So basically dia macam I can say it's like rough foundation. You dah belajar rough foundation kan? So it's something like rough foundation. Lebih kurang lah konsep yang sama, tapi dia jalan raya and they will transmit load dekat bawah, dekat dia punya subgrade. Okay, so subgrade will carry the traffic load. So kalau tanah you tak betul, kalau tanah you lembik, you tak buat proper compaction, kalau you perasan daripada Sri Iskandar lah last time, now they have what do you call that, dia dah tepek yang baru, but previously dia punya bouncy was really obvious. Kau tak tahulah kalau you pernah lalu jalan, bila you jalan dia like bouncy. Okay, dekat atas jalan raya tu pun you boleh rasa dia macam bouncy. That was because yang kat sini dulu I was told by the engineer diorang tak buat compaction betul-betul jalan raya dia. So bila tak compact, jalan dia ada yang mendap, ada yang stay, ada yang mendap. So itu yang you dapat bouncy roads. Okay, so sebab dia tak buat proper soil investigation ataupun soil stabilization. Trial holes should be taken down to at least 1 meter below the proposed formation level. So when you do soil investigation, you will have to do the like holes. You will learn this next semester. Okay, I'm not going to explain in detail about soil investigation, but basically it's 1 meter below because for high-rise building, of course, you have to go deeper because the higher the structure, the deeper you have to go inside because they have to, you know, macam tapak kaki. The substructure has to carry the load. So yang ini because jalan raya like this thick probably, so you have to go about the same ataupun lebih sikit daripada tu. Right. So the information required is to ensure that a good pavement design can be formulated. These are elasticity, plasticity, cohesion and internal friction properties. Yang ini semua belajar next semester more jenis-jenis soil investigation. Okay, yang macam dia buat ni, dia adalah ambil tanah, sampel tanah and then ada buat dekat lab. So kita belajar next semester, right? So earthwork process. So normally mana-mana construction including roadworks, we will have to remove the topsoil. So kalau you belajar, sama juga next semester under soil characteristics, you have to remove the topsoil. Dah belajar ni kan, you guys ada belajar apa tu, estimation. Dekat dalam estimation ataupun dekat dalam BQ normally dia akan cakap remove 150 mm topsoil excavated, lepas tu dia akan cakap transported ataupun dumped dekat mana-mana. Okay, dekat dalam description selalunya ada. Kenapa kita nak buang topsoil? Sebab topsoil ni dia banyak barang-barang yang decayed, you know, decayed plants. Dia punya soil texture tu tak how do I say, dia gembur, so dia tak kuat, it cannot bear the load. Dia selalunya untuk tanam pokok ada rumput, ada akar-akar, so dia selalunya macam tergembur. So you have to remember this is for next semester basically, but tanah ni once kalau you usik dia akan jadi terganggu dia punya kekuatan. So what they do, they scrap and grading the exposed surface to the required formation level. So dia bukan excavate macam you buat pad foundation tu kan, you excavate pit or you excavate the trench. No, you don't do that. So for this, they just like scrap. Dia akan scrap. Depends on the apa tu, jenis tanah yang dekat situ. Forming any embankments or cuttings. So kalau you ada jalan dekat slope, probably they want to cut a bit here. Supaya you can have apa tu, jalan raya yang sama. So kat sini ada slope, you potong slope sikit. Kat sini maybe ada bukit, you cut here and fill. Cut and fill pun you dah belajar dalam site land survey semester 1, cut and fill. The strength of the subgrade will decrease as moisture content increases. Lagi banyak air, lagi tak kuat tanah tu because macam mana saya nak suruh you imagine, you ambil lah tanah mana-mana, you ambil air, bila you letak air dia akan jadi lebih moisture, dia senang nak dia tak melekat antara satu sama lain, dia like so the more water you have in the soil, the less the strength will be. So yang itu pun kena tengok juga water content, moisture content of the soil, yang itu pun sama juga next semester. Excavation work macam dia cakap tadi, scrapping, it's more like scrapping. Nampak tak tebal dia kat tepi tu. Okay, it's about like maybe 200, 300 mm. So it depends on the side, tanah. Kalau you tengok sebelah kanan sini, this one has been cut. Kan kalau tak bukit selalunya macam ni. So this side has been cut. Right, so this is a typical section of a jalan raya yang melalui bukit. So kalau you perasan kat sini tadi, dia dah potong. Okay, so dia potong this area and dia fill dekat sini sebab dia bukit. Nampak tak? Dia kat sini and dia fill dekat sini. So tempat yang fill ni lah yang kena buat proper soil compaction. Okay, so ini gambar dia, you have the notes, you can see. The pavement covering will give final protection to the subgrade from excess moisture during construction period. The subgrade ni bawah sekali, should be protected by waterproof surface such as sprayed bituminous binder with a sand covered apply at the rate of. So normally they will spray dekat subgrade tu supaya dia ada macam binder, dia akan melekat-lekatkan benda tu and it's more proper. Sekejap ya. Sekejap. Sorry, I duduk dekat dapur so ada macam-macam gangguan. Kejap ambil nasi, kejap ambil lauk, kejap ambil air. Okay. If the subgrade is not to be immediately covered with the subbase of the, ni bawah sekali subgrade is not to be immediately covered with the subbase of the pavement, it should be protected by an impermeable membrane such as plastic sheeting geotextile with 300 mm sides and laps. Okay, apa yang dia cakap kat sini adalah, so basically if you have soil, normally yang unstable soil, yang tak berapa nak stable, yang maybe ada moisture content tinggi or maybe dia dah cut and then dia fill, lepas tu dia dah compact and then dia tak nak bercampur. So kebanyakannya yang saya tengok jalan raya normally yang dekat tempat yang dekat and fill tu normally they will put geotextile. So geotextiles ni ada macam jenis, dia ada woven, dia ada non-woven, dia ada macam-macam jenis dekat dalam market. So it depends. Dan apabila dia kata 3 mm sides and end laps, so maksud dia bila dia letak geotextile macam tu, sorry tak tahu lah you nampak ke tak. So this is like geotextile, it's just like kain tapi tebal, dan dia geotextile ni sifat dia tidak boleh biodegradable by the soil, meaning dia tak akan mereput dalam tanah. So when you have like, let's say this is your jalan raya, so you must have end laps. End laps maksud dia dia mesti terlebih. So bila terlebih nanti you akan balut dia naik atas. Okay. So nanti dia tak tercampur. Sometimes dia orang letak tekan bawah, but most of the time dia orang akan end laps tu dia akan lipat naik atas. Itu yang saya nampak dia orang buat jalan raya Keratan yang dekat mana dekat highway mana entah. So dia ada end laps, dia lipat atas tu supaya dia tidak bercampur. Sebab kalau you tak ada end laps, you tak lipat, nanti dia boleh tertarik ke bawah. So dia kena lipat ke atas. Okay. So dekat sini kalau you nampak, that's the subgrade, and then ini dia punya geotextile, kemudian dia akan ada aggregate dekat atas tu, lepas tu dia akan compact. Of course kalau depends on this soil, dekat sini pun kena compact bila dah letak geotextile, and then dia letak filling ataupun aggregate materials, they still have to compact. Okay, ini adalah contoh geotextile yang diorang letak. Okay, kalau you tengok dekat sini lapisan dia, ini for Kalau you tengok yang saya point ni, this is the layers of, it looks to me of the pavement tadi saya cakap walk pavement tu. So dia punya ketebalan tak tebal. So they have 2 layers of geotextiles kat sini. So here you can see the subgrade and then they have apa tu? The geotextile, lepas tu dia ada filling grades. Dekat sini the aggregates. Dekat atas aggregates ni nanti they will have the layers for jalan raya, it depends. Okay. Then pavement construction. Pavement refers to any paved surface applied specifically to the whole construction of a road. So we have 2 types of road pavement. One is called flexible, one is rigid pavement. Relax, nanti I akan explain. Flexible pavements dalam bahasa senang I nak explain adalah pavement yang gunakan aggregate, lepas tu dia letak tar dekat atas tu, base course. Dia punya surface course tu yang pakai tar warna hitam tu. Rigid pavement adalah rigid pavement yang dia pakai concrete. Nama dia ni flexible because it's more flexible. You can just shape, it's more flexible, it's soft as compared to rigid. Rigid dia guna concrete, so bila rigid maknanya dia keras, dia static dekat situ. Dan normally rigid pavement ni lebih keras, jalan raya yang lebih keras. Kalau you lalu dekat plus highway, because I normally use from Perak to KL, so kalau you lalu ada certain points, bila you lalu atas tu you rasa keras jalan raya dia, macam you can actually feel. Kalau you are a driver, you can actually feel. Tapi bila you naik dekat atas pavement yang flexible pavement, there are certain areas dekat dalam atas jalan raya tu that they have to do the flexible pavement because sometimes seleko, because rigid pavement dia lebih rigid, dia lebih keras, dan I'm not quite sure about the kelicinan because surface dia tu dia tak boleh licin. Ada pernah happen, the resident engineer told me yang bekerja dekat Plus Highway, dia cakap ada sekali tu they design a bit wrong for the surface, so dekat situ banyak jadi macam kereta tergelincir, not tergelincir, how do you say that, like sway, especially bila hujan, dia di bawah air. So but now, itu dululah, but now they have refined. So you can feel as a driver, kalau dekat highway ni you can actually feel the flexible and rigid. Kalau rigid pun you nampak colour dia macam kurang sikit, it's like greyish. Kalau yang flexible pavement ni selalunya it's more blackish. Okay. Rigid dia punya layers lebih sikit berbanding dengan flexible pavement. So kalau flexible pavement dia ada surface dressing yang I cakap dia pakai jalan tar. Rigid pavement dia punya adalah concrete. Atas dia selalunya adalah concrete. However, ada juga rigid pavement yang atas dia ada letak surface dressing. It depends on the requirement of the project. Okay. Then we have natural formation is the yang subgrade tadi, bawah sekali. Okay. Then you have subbase. Lepas tu we have base course, then surface course. Surface dressing adalah yang dia punya minyak hitam tu lah. So we will see after this. Subgrade existing soil. Subgrade adalah bawah sekali. Existing soil reduced to formation level. So this is the subgrade, bawah sekali. Dia yang you nampak dia dah scrap tadi kan, yang bawah tu, yang I cakap kena compact. So selalunya memang kita nak benda tu compact walaupun tanah tu keras, we want it to be compacted. Will be covered by subbase layer. Ini adalah subbase. Ini for flexible pavement . Flexible yang saya cakap tadi dia pakai aggregate and binders dekat atas tu, bearing course. Subbase ni yang tadi kita tengok dia ada letak aggregate tu yang banyak, yang tebal tu. Dan antara subgrade dengan subbase ada layers, ada a layer of geotextile sekiranya perlu. The The sub-base is directly laid onto the formation level and consists of a well-compacted granular material such as quarry or crushed rocks. Yang kita selalu panggil, crusher run. Okay, kalau dekat site kita panggil crusher run. So you have subgrade, you have crusher run at the top, selalunya tebal. Okay, kalau you tengok dekat kawasan-kawasan pendalaman, sometimes bila dia buat jalan raya, dia dah scrap and then dia letak subbase je, dia letak aggregate je. Another engineer pernah pergi ke Sarawak untuk buat projek air dekat kawasan pendalaman. They had jalan raya tu, I tak ingat, pendek je kalau nak ikutkan, kalau yang ada wearing course semua ni, you jalan boleh speed kan sampai 180, you can speed 120, you can speed. Nanti kan keluar pula viral kan, actually suruh speed sampai 180. No, I'm not asking you to speed 180 on the highway, it's just that's my speed yang I selalu bawa. But be careful, I pernah sway on jalan raya. So 110 is the speed limit dekat highway. So kalau you boleh bawa 110 macam biasa dalam, kalau I sampai KL from Sri Iskandar is about 1 hour 45 minutes. Kalau I drive selalunya, kalau center of KL lah, kalau sampai Putrajaya about 2 hours 15 minutes. Okay, so apa tadi nak cakap? So maknanya comfortable, I can drive that speed. Tapi jalan raya yang ada ni, dia hanya ada subgrade dengan subbase, hanya ada itu. So jalan raya diorang nak masuk kawasan pedalaman tu sebenarnya it will only take about 1 hour, but because of that jalan raya diorang tak boleh speed. Diorang punya speed was about only like 40-50, they had to take about 3 hours to reach that place. Tu semua dia ambil kira tu sebenarnya. Okay. So I tak tahu, I rasa kat dalam kampung selalunya ada jalan raya yang sampai subbase je. Dekat dalam kawasan kelapa sawit selalunya, yang tu dia letak crusher run je. Materials chosen must remain stable in water, for example, dry lean concrete, blast furnace slag, compacted dry bound macadam, compacted wet mixed macadam. Kenapa remain stable in water? Because you will have vehicles on the road. So kita tak nak jalan raya yang takung air, because like I said, when you have water then kita punya tayar tu boleh float atas air. I couldn't remember the term for that, tapi that's dangerous. So we want the water to run, that's what we call run of water. We want it to be clear from the road. Cleared from the road. Kita tak nak air atas jalan raya. And now they have as another concrete, they call it, God, I tak boleh ingat apa nama concrete tu. Tapi selalunya itu dia letak dekat pavement. Concrete tu dia panggil sponge concrete. Nama lain, nama dia, I cannot remember. So bila hujan, concrete tu serap air. Sekarang ni yang you tengok konkrit keras kan, dia akan lalukan air, dia run off. But now they have started to realize that we have problem with the floods, everything. So diorang buat benda tu normally dekat pavement. So bila hujan, konkrit tu serap air. Kenapa konkrit tu serap air? Supaya kita tak banyak run off masuk dalam sungai. Macam rumah I ni pun semua I dah konkrit kan dah. Semua masuk longkang, daripada masuk longkang masuk monsoon drain and then sampai pergi ke sungai. So they want to reduce that, so dia letak konkrit yang boleh serap air. Some of the water akan mendap masuk dalam tanah dan some of the water diorang akan kumpulkan di bawah tanah. Diorang panggil run off water catchment. It's called rainwater harvesting yang bawah tanah. So boleh guna untuk siram pokok, boleh guna untuk retain the water dekat bawah tanah dalam jalan raya sehingga hujan habis, then dia akan buang balik air dalam tu supaya diorang tak nak sungai penuh. Flood problems. Okay. Subbase materials should have a CBR value of more than 80% and should be well compacted in layers between 100 and 150 mm for each layer. So surface yang saya cakap tadi aggregate. So walaupun dia aggregate, you kena compact. Walaupun dia crusher run, you kena compact. Otherwise nanti dia akan lari, dia tak duduk, dia longgar-longgar because dia batu-batu kan. So you compact, dia akan masuk-masuk. Kalau you belajar soil next sem, kalau I ajar, I will teach you like even if I don't teach you, I have the videos on YouTube. So my YouTube, and then you can see. Kalau macam contohnya batu, you letak, bila you goncang batu tu, dia akan lebih compact. So you can put more, isn't it? So dia lebih stable, kat bawah tu lebih mampat. Sama juga macam gula. Gula is also non-cohesive. So you goncang gula tu, dia akan jadi compacted. So yang ni samalah, dia roll sampai dia compact. The last two components are called collectively the road surface layer. You have the base course and wearing course. Dia punya atas tu lah, dia punya layers yang dekat atas yang you jalan tu. The base course consists of rolled asphalt, dense tar macadam, dense bitumen macadam or open texture macadam. So yang paling common you heard is the tar macadam. Applied to a minimum thickness of 60 mm, base cores are laid to correct thickness and gradient to receive thinner wearing course. Okay, yang ni kejap lagi we will see the pictures. So thickness dia minimum is about 60 mm. Dan bila dia ada base course, when they have this base course, dia akan level balik, ada gradient. So kalau you perasan dekat highway kan kita ada jalan sebelah kiri, sebelah kanan. So jalan raya dia sebenarnya macam ni, tapi tak adalah macam ni sangat. So gradient dia ada laluan gradient dia. Kalau hujan, air akan turun daripada center ke sini. So dekat tengah-tengah yang ada divider tu, kita tak ada longkang, kita ada longkang sebelah hujung. Tengah-tengah tu air tak nampak ada scupper drain. It depends, sometimes tak ada juga yang tengah-tengah tu ada drain. It all depends. Tapi kalau kat highway, I think it's a bit dangerous to have yeah, I think the gradient is like that. Okay, selalu memang jalan raya macam tu. Tapi kalau tak ada pun, maybe kalau di separate, maybe sebelah sini ada macam ni, sebelah sini pun ada macam ni. So tengah-tengah tu ada longkang ke apa, I tak tahu, it depends on the project. Tapi kalau dekat highway, you will have something like that. The wearing course is usually laid by machine. Yang ini paste je selalunya. Provides the water protection for the base layers. Also have non-skid properties. Non-skid properties means yang macam saya cakap, you wouldn't sway on the road. Maknanya non-skid tu you tak tergelincir, dia pegang, it will grip your tires. Reasonable resistance to glare. Jalan raya yang bila you jalan, you tak nampak, dia akan reduce, how do I say, there are certain roads yang pada jauh you nampak macam ada laut tu kan. Itu adalah patulan, I know, but they will try to reduce that as much as possible to resistance to glare. Have good riding properties. Riding properties, of course, you jalan atas, you drive on the road. And good life expectancy. You want to have a road that can last for many years. You do not want to construct a road. You bagi kontraktor entah apa-apa. This is another story. Not nice stories sebab nak keluarkan duit kerajaan. Okay lah, kita tampal lah. Normally it happens to jalan kampung lah, kesian orang kampung. Okay lah, tampal, korek-korek tampal. Actually kalau macam saya jalan kat sini, ada je jalan yang tak rosak pun saya tengok. And I didn't understand why they scrap and then redo it again. Dan bila dia buat tu lebih jahanam daripada jalan lama. It was so annoying kalau jalan yang kat sebelah sana. And sometimes they had to cut the jalan raya tengah-tengah. Dia letak perabung kan, dia letak like what do you call that, culvert, drain culvert kan kat bawah jalan raya. Because they gave to lousy contractors. Dulu jalan tu cantik straight, tiba-tiba sekarang bila dah you letak culvert bawah tu, tiba-tiba stop. Dia ada like, it's not even what do you call that, ni apa, bendol tu, what do you call that, bendol tu lah. It's not even that, tapi disebabkan you gave it, the project was given to non-reliable contractors, so you have that sort of things on jalan raya, which is actually dangerous, especially for motorbikes. Sebab when you have bumps like that, dia boleh like sometimes dia tak sedar kan dia macam terbang. I banyak kali terbang dekat jalan-jalan kampung because I couldn't see, dia nampak hitam je sampai kat situ rupanya dia ada bump. Dah lah kereta lowered kat tu so dia it's not nice. It's for the motorcycle especially yang ada potholes tu itu lagi tak bagus. It's dangerous. Materials include hot rolled asphalt, the same thing lah, tar surface and cold asphalt. It should be laid within 3 days of completing the base course supaya dia tidak terkesan dengan air. Characteristic of flexible pavement, design life 10 to 20 years. You nampak tak? Design is, dia punya life is actually long. But like I said, kalau bagi dekat orang yang tak pandai buat, lepas 2-3 tahun dia ada korek. Lepas 2-3 tahun korek. So I just want to understand. Ada juga projek yang lepas 2-3 tahun roundabout tu tukar rupa. Lepas tu ni tukar rupa. They just want to use the money. That's a different story. Kalau you nak belajar lagi sebab unethical behavior or unethical activities in the construction industry, you ambil degree in construction technology sebab saya ada ajar subjek on professional ethics. Itu part 6 degree. Low flexural strength, expand and contract without the need of expansion joint. So maknanya jalan raya you kan bila panas you dah belajar sains masa sekolah kan dia kembang. Dan ada jalan raya yang jalan raya in nature bila dia tak panas dia akan mengecut. Konkrit pun sama sebenarnya. Konkrit akan sentiasa sehingga it's a lifetime. Konkrit sebenarnya saya selalu cakap konkrit tu hidup tapi jangan lagi cakap Dr. Hafiza aja konkrit hidup. No, what I mean is in the lifetime konkrit akan kembang kucut sepanjang hayat dia. Okay, so that's why kalau kat jalan raya especially on the bridges, kalau you lalu, you pernah tak lalu dekat bridge kan jalan raya, dia ada tiba-tiba bunyi kedekek, lepas tu dedek, dia like ada jointings. So those jointings are sometimes kalau you ada bridge, dia ada joints, but that joints also sebab dia want to allow that jalan raya to expand, kembang kuncup. So they have that. So ada juga jalan raya yang a bit annoying sebab dia punya jointing, expansion joint tu like macam besar juga. Kalau macam jalan raya dekat Putrajaya, so when I was a student dekat Shah Alam, I was a student and I organised a trip to Putrajaya when they built Jambatan Saujana and Wawasan in Putrajaya. So at that time kalau masa kita orang pergi tu it has been completed tapi air was not released. So kita orang jalanlah bawah jambatan tu. So we were given talk by the designer and also the contractor like how they built the jambatan. So kalau you pergi Putrajaya they have like Wawasan and Sarjana, they have pylons. We don't call it columns, we call it pylons. So they have like 2 pylons and they have cables, isn't it? So they pull the deck. Ni jalan raya, they pull the deck using the pylon. So they don't have the columns dekat bawah jambatan tu sebab dia nak boat lalu. So they have pylons, they pull the deck from the top. Okay, so deck tu dah dekat situ. Dan dekat jalan atas tu kalau you jalan dia tak ada expansion joints. Dia serit je, dia licin je. So masa diorang buat deck tu, we were been told that the deck tak ada joints. Dia memang cast straight macam tu terus. So tak ada expansion joints because jalan raya tu tak ada joints. Consists of a series of layers of materials to distribute the wheel loads to the subgrade. So dia ada layers, lepas tu dia akan distribute loads. Strength depends on the strength of subgrade. Ingat yang I cakap paling kena kuat adalah subgrade. Subgrade is like the foundation. Dia punya tanah tu kena kuat. Okay, so that's the surface atas sekali. Okay, gambar rajah bawah ni I do not actually know what happened because this is not my slide, so I do not have the full articles or blog regarding this. But from what I can see, this is because of the soil movement. Maybe this is what I think. Maybe because of the earthquake. It can be. Kan, earthquake, goncang, jalan tu pecah. That can be a reason. The second reason can be, kalau I nak cakap sebab air, air normally they akan pecahkan parts of the jalan raya. But now this picture, what I can see is like from the start till the end sampai ujung tu dah macam sungai. So I do not think this is because of the water or because they do it wrongly, or I do not know the story. I am sorry, but it looks to me that it's probably because of the disaster. And maybe because of the water, it can be. But you can see that the wearing course kat atas tu is very thin. That's the wearing course lah. Lepas tu dekat bawah tu dia punya sub base batu-batu besar, so you can see the sub base. Yep. Advantages of flexible road is easily repaired. You senang nak tampal because kalau you ada pothole kan, dia punya batu tu keluar, then you can just tampal. Good for non-skid surface, dia lebih tahan tayar, cengkaman tayar. Tolerates a greater range of temperatures. Macam saya cakap tadi, dia boleh kembang. Dia boleh panas. Kalau konkret, kalau panas sangat dia akan kembang. Quieter and smoother rides, comfortable rides. Dekat atas highway, kalau if you are a driver, bila you drive ataupun you are a co-driver, try to feel, I mean, maybe you can feel, I don't know you, I've been driving for 14 years, so I can feel jalan tu keras, jalan tu lembut. It's quieter and smoother rides. Additional thickness can be added anytime and it's cheap. So kadang-kadang diorang tampal je kan. Ni macam dah sengit macam mendak, tampal. Okay. So it's disadvantages, loses some flexibility and cohesion with time. Regular resurfacing is required. You resurface lah sebab yelah bila dah lalu mungkin dia jadi nipis. Could damage by water, wet subgrade. Bila subgrade you tu, tanah tu moisture content dia tinggi, dia tak letak geotextile ke apa ke, ataupun air. Ada satu video, ada video yang air tu hentam jalan raya sehingga jalan raya tu pecah dan dia jatuh ke bawah. That is because of water. Design life is shorter sebab dia flexible, dia boleh pecah, dia boleh ada potholes, dia boleh terkeluar. Kalau lori berat dia boleh jadi mendap. Type of concrete pavement. This is rigid pavement. Okay, now tadi flexible pavement, now is rigid pavement. Type of concrete pavement. Concrete, it depends on the project. You dah belajar, we have different grades of concrete, 20, 30, 4A, even we have 50. So kalau dekat ports, like seaports, apa tu panggil, pelabuhan dekat tepi laut, you will have so many containers, heavy lorries, trucks. So sekejap kawan I tak ingat berapa grade dia, but I think it's 40 and above. Dia punya rigid pavement concrete mixture. Okay, so they can have reinforced concrete pavement, they can have just like plain concrete pavement ataupun jointed reinforced concrete pavement atau hybrid. So you nampak tak yang itu bila dia ada concrete, they will have like the lines untuk dia bancuh concrete tu dan dia nak tampal, because concrete you know lah, you nak kena tuang macam tu dan keras, then you kena take care of the hot joint and also cold joint. You dah belajar tu masa semester lepas dalam tajuk concrete, you should have. Sorry. A form of road using a concrete slab laid over a base layer. Preparation of the base subgrade up as flexible as okay, apa yang dia cakap kat sini adalah tanah tadi the same process. Maknanya bila you dah scrap tanah tu, you have to compact the subgrade. Subgrade sama je. Cumanya dekat atas subgrade tadi kita ada subbase. Dia punya atas subbase of formation level ya. Lepas tu dia punya ni crushed stone. Crushed stone pun sama jugalah subgrade. Sama juga macam flexible tadi. Cumanya kalau kat flexible we have thicker aggregate layer. But here dia punya agak a bit shallow sebab dia ada concrete lagi ke dekat atas tu. So they have crushed concrete, crushed stone, crushed slag. Sorry, ini yang antara benda yang dia boleh letak ataupun graded gravels. So thickness dia adalah about 150 kalau subgrade dia adalah weak. So normal thickness adalah 80, kalau kat sini dia kata 80. So kalau tanah tu agak lemah, diorang letak aggregate tu tebal lagi. Tapi kalau tanah tu diorang memang jenis yang kuat, yang dekat tanah bukit selalunya kuat. Iya ke? Can I say that? Normally. So mungkin dia boleh kurang. Macam mana pun kena buat soil investigation juga, dan dia boleh kurangkan. Thickness of the concrete slab depends on the condition of the subgrade. Macam saya cakap tadi, intensity of traffic. Macam saya cakap juga tadi, kalau dekat ports you will have more heavy vehicles and containers. So you will have thicker grade, sub-base, dan juga stronger concrete. Whether the slab is to be reinforced, depends. Kalau dia nak reinforcement, dia letak reinforcement lah, it depends. Dekat port tu, I rasa dia letak reinforcement. A certain areas, not all areas. Slab thickness, 125 mm. Untuk traffic biasa, 200 mm without reinforced, carrying medium to heavy traffic. So ini again, I cakap bila different project, you may have different thicknesses. Before concrete is laid, base layer should be covered with a slim membrane. Sama juga, polythene sheet is part of the geotextile to prevent grout or water loss. Then sama macam you buat ground foundation, it's the same thing. Then you letak foundation. Kalau ada, you letak reinforcement, what do you call this? Not rebar. Mesh, what do you call that? Saya tak ingat. So you letak rebar, BRC, yeah. So dia letak BRC yang dah siap 4-4 segi ni. Kalau I tengok kat sini, is it BRC ataupun rebar? Dia letak BRC pun ada, rebar pun ada. So dia ada overlapping kat sini. Dia ada keluar. It depends, kalau jalan raya tu tak nak pakai rebar, so tak ada rebar lah, it's just plain concrete. But and this one ada reinforcement. So bawah reinforcement tu, kalau you nampak macam ada tahu kecil tu, itu dia panggil spacer bar. So bawah reinforcement bar, you nampak yang ada tahu kecil tu, dia letak spacer bar. Supaya, ni you dah belajar last 2 semesters, dia letak spacer bar supaya bila dia tuang konkrit tu akan pergi ke bawah dan salut semua reinforcement bar. Sebab kalau you tak letak spacer bar, konkrit tu akan, reinforcement akan duduk di bawah, konkrit duduk di atas. Yang bawah tu kalau kena air, konkrit semua karat. Tapi kalau dia duduk dalam konkrit, dia tak karat lah sebab dia dah disalut dengan konkrit. Okay, so itu adalah dia punya starter bar yang keluar dekat sini. Kalau you tengok tepi-tepi ni, we call it starter bar. And reinforcement is the same thing. Ini jointings je. Ini adalah, again, I have the picture but I do not know what's the problem. It can be because of the hot and cold joint. It can be because of nampak macam konkrit itu banyak pasir gitu. So I don't know, maybe bancuhan konkrit lain ataupun maybe ada ground movement. Sebab I nampak kat bawah tu macam ada ruang kosong. I do not know what's the problem with the slab, but you can have many problems with the slab. Sebab you are dealing with the ground. Ground boleh bergerak. So we call it ground movement. It depends on the area. Especially kalau dekat heavy traffic area, you can have quite huge of ground because you ada vibration. Ini you akan belajar next semester, not this semester. Joints. Joints used in rigid pavement. Macam saya cakap tadi, atas jambatan bila you jalan dia bunyi joint. Tegak itu. Joints used in rigid pavement may be either transverse or longitudinal included in the design to limit the size of slab. So kalau dia nak yang kadang-kadang besar sekeping-sekeping, ada yang kecil. So it depends on the joints. Okay, limits of the stresses, expansion, contraction and warping. Factors influencing the spacing of joints ikut thickness. Spacing of joint macam saya cakap tadi, ada yang joints tebal, ada joints nipis. So kalau slab tu tebal, mungkin dia punya jointings tu lebih besar lah. Then presence of reinforcement, ada reinforcement getak, traffic intensity, temperature. 5 types of joints. We have different types of joint for rigid road. Expansion joint, contraction joints, longitudinal construction joints and warping joints. So dekat sini semua ada dia punya detailed drawings. Yang bawah sekali is the warping joints. Dekat atas ni tengok dia macam 4 segi kecil je. Yang dekat bawah ni of course dia ada joints. Then contraction joint, dekat bawah ni dia punya lagi besar, ini lagi besar. So it depends on the what is actually the requirement of the project. So you can see all the detailed drawings here. Curing of rigid roads is to maintain the strength and avoid surface cracks. Curing protection is covered by newly laid surface with the suitable materials. Sebenarnya I tak boleh concentrate because someone is opening the door at the back. Curing protection is by covering the newly laid surface. Okay, ini you dah belajar last semester how to cure concrete. You tunggu berapa minggu? You supposed to answer that question. Okay, 7 hari ke, 14 hari ke, how long you want to wait. And you know concrete bila you nak cure, it shouldn't be under the hot sun. Tahu kan, curing kita akan taruh air sebab want to avoid konkrit tu daripada crack. So kalau you perasan selalunya diorang akan spray air sebab dalam konkrit tu ada air. So bila you ada panas matahari yang kuat, bila dia how do you say like evaporates the water dalam konkrit tu, dia keluar dengan cepat, so you will have crack concrete. So you tak nak yang tu. Kalau selalunya they will cover with canvas ataupun guni basah. Depends lah, takkanlah dekat jalan raya you nak letak guni basah kan. So maybe they spray with water. So dia ada curing protection, ada waterproof paper, plastic film, like I said, canvas ni lah, top clean sheets, and also protection against pitting of surface due to rain. Sebab you tak nak ada pop dia rain, bekas rain tu kan, you tak nak dia lubang-lubang. Lepas tu nanti you tak cover, dia punya simen pun hanyut. So Malaysia kan hujan suka-suka hati dia je. Advantages, high strength, kuat, high durability, dia lebih tahan lebih daripada 10 ke 15 tahun, lebih daripada tu. Longer life cycle, can withstand flooding and surface water. Difficult to repair sebab dia konkrit. So kalau pecah ke crack ke, then you kena pecahkan balik bahagian tu, you kena grout. So dia ada banyak lagi kerja for you to do. Surface could be slippery sebab dia konkrit, dia licin lah. Kalau yang tadi tu sebab dia batu, dia kasar-kasar, so dia ada ni, so dia lebih grip. Noisy and rough rides. Gila yang tadi dekat air cakap tu. Jointed plain concrete pavement. So nampak tak dia punya pavement tu tebal mana? Tebal dia punya concrete tu. So you can see the pictures, the notes, all the notes are with you. So macam ni lah cara dia tuang concrete. So they have special machine. We have different types of machine. Diorang bancuh dekat situ mix in situ, late dekat situ, and then dia ada leveler dia dekat situ. So that's continuous reinforced concrete pavement. Okay, so yang ni ada reinforcement bar. Pouring, compacting and leveling. These are all the pictures. So ni lah dia buat compaction, segment by segment. These are the pictures. So these are the machines yang for the concrete. So yang ni dia buat sebelah lagi pun tengah buat. They covered with roof. I don't know what they covered. Yeah, they covered the concrete They use canvas. Ini canvas canvas that way. Kenapa dia buat macam tu? Supaya air hujan lalu lah. So that's the end of the day joint. Okay, so you ada jointing kat situ. You tengok konkrit kat tepi ni, tebal dia macam mana. Okay, ni adalah dia punya starter bar, dia punya besi, dia punya reinforcement, dia punya connection, dia sambung antara ini dengan ini supaya they have contact yang sebelah kiri dengan sebelah kanan. Thickness checking, they have to check. Kalau you jadi supervisor once, nantilah bila you practical ataupun bila you kerja jadi project manager, always check the thickness. Even kalau dia terlari dalam 2-3 mm tu pun bermakna sometimes dia orang curi. Kalau katakan projek tu 3 km. Kalau 3 mm darab dengan lebar darab dengan 3 km dah berapa banyak dah receive. Normally contractor akan reducekan dia punya tu. So we do not want that. We can give certain allowance like 1 mm is still acceptable probably. Tapi kalau sampai 3 mm, nampak kecil nampak ala doktor cakap 3 mm je banyak ni je. But benda tu influence dan you punya jalan raya pun akan jadi tak kuat. So kalau you nak jadi supervisor, practical, you nak jadi project manager ke apa, be ethical. Jangan sebab orang tu bagi you hamper ala cincai lah. It happen lah, this is a real story. Bukan untuk subjek ni, sepatutnya cerita untuk subjek degree, tapi I cerita sikit. It happened to a project jalan raya bila diorang buat boring test. Sebab jalan raya ni ada boring untuk yang flexible road, dia keluarkan sampel macam bulat-bulat tu. Bila dia ukur, kurang 3 mm or 4 mm. So kontraktor tu cakap, cincai lah. Tapi sebelum tu dia dah hantar hamper dah, hari raya kan hantar hamper dekat engineer semua. So a bit your slippers are disturbing. Thickness of the jalan raya, so dia minta ni, but the engineer was like, you know, you ingat you bagi I hamper, I boleh dengar you punya cakap kan, so you are doing plus highway punya project, I don't care, it has to be, you know, accurate, tak boleh buat macam ni. So adalah diorang discuss and then they had to top up. I don't know how they top up because you will have like cold and hot joints, other problems, so I do not know how they do it. Okay, ni jalan raya biasalah kat tepi rumah. Ni rumah UK ni, I rasa ni Australia atau UK, nampak sangat ni. Itu ada curbs curbs yang ada curvy curbs. Yeah, road curbs. So you have road curbs, you can have drop and then you have first curb and then you have drop and then you have another curb. So selalunya dekat curb ni diorang ada lubang, we will see. Okay, ada curbs yang you dah beli pasang susun. Ada itu kita panggil precast curb. Kalau yang cast in situ pun dia ada mesin yang dia dah bancur konkrit for the curb. Lepas tu dia akan, it's a special machine, dia akan just like letak, dia akan tarik dengan mesin tu. Nah, so jadi curb. It's very nice. You tengok dalam YouTube nanti. Road curb you have, kita do the same thing, excavation, concrete curb installation, and then you paint kan. Kalau dekat tepi jalan raya tu nampak, kalau kat Malaysia we use black and white dekat tepi jalan raya tu. Ni curb with holes, it's actually we call it scupper holes ni lubang ni. Kalau you tengok cerita Ratatouille ke, kartun tu yang dia duduk dalam ni. Okay lah, selalunya tikus duduk kat dalam tu if you don't have proper drainage is very very important, especially in Malaysia. Tapi orang selalu buat main-main dengan longkang. Dia macam alah tak kisahlah longkang ni, but disebabkan itulah kita sekarang ni banjir. Curb painting, drainage or scupper drains. Open drainage we have closed drain. Open drainage yang drainage you boleh nampak, itu kita panggil open drainage. Closed drain adalah drain yang dia ada scupper pipe dekat bawah tu, dia ada piping ataupun kita panggil the culvert. Culvert adalah macam saya cakap tadi kat jalan raya, diorang korek, ingat tadi saya cakap dia jalan raya biasa tapi sebab kawasan tu banjir, ada laluan air whatever, so they had to add Culvert tu kalau dalam bahasa Melayu relung yang macam konkrit besar-besar you tengok dekat hardware tu kan. So itu relung. So dia korek dan dia akan letak relung. Dia macam longkang yang you tak nampak sebab atas tu dia akan cover balik. That's called closed drain. You tutup. Tak nampak. Okay, this is scupper. Bawah ni ada scupper pipe tau. Yang I point, I do not know whether you can see my mouse pointer or not. But these yang dekat tepi jalan raya ni yang selalu sumbat lah, apalah, pasal air tak nak lalu lah. Lepas tu like, it happened to me, my car masuk air. I had to repair 8,000 ringgit just because I lalu dekat kawasan tu orang kampung paksa I lalu. I knew I couldn't. I knew at that point, I cakap I tak boleh lalu tapi orang kampung paksa I lalu. So kereta I stop tengah-tengah, masuk air dan orang kampung dengan perak ya, menyakitkan hati. They started the engine because sepatutnya tak boleh start engine selepas masuk air. They started the engine, tiba-tiba ada ramai pula engineer kereta kat situ. Oh, I engineer, ramai pula ambil kunci kereta I. Kereta I dihurungi seperti semut. So semua orang try. So piston semua bengkok. 4 piston bengkok. I repair kereta tu saja about 8,000 ringgit. For orang kampung. Baik kan, mulia hati I. Kereta I bagi ke masjid. So so I agak phobia since then dan I selalu menyampah kalau tengok scupper drain ni ada daun. Scupper ni kat lubang-lubang ni. Sepatutnya memang air kena lalu. Kan tadi I cakap dia ada gradient, air memang kena lalu masuk. Tolonglah lalu dan jangan bagi jalan raya banjir. Okay, dekat sini memang ada, this is kind of, this is roadside drain. This can be roadside drain or this is, kalau monsoon drain dia lagi besar. Selalunya monsoon drain ada pagar tu. So ini drainage yang dia tutup dengan grating lah. Ini drainage, ini drainage yang kan I cakap dekat tengah-tengah highway kita selalunya tak ada drain kan, dia macam ni kan. Tapi ini drain dia sebab dia jalan raya dia lebar kiri dan kanan. So dia buat drain, jalan raya dia sebelah sini, yang sebelah sana macam ni pula. So air akan lalu kat sini. Di mana air tu pergi, dia akan pergi bawah jalan raya tu balik. So dia ada bawah jalan raya ni ada closed drain. Dia ada culvert. Dia akan masuk dalam culvert dan dia akan pergi ke longkang monsoon drain maybe dan dia akan masuk ke sungai. Drainage. What time sekarang? Okay, we still have time, don't worry. Surface water is to flow off the paved area by cross falls, which must be designed sufficient gradient to cope. Like this is what I have said, to prevent vehicles skidding. They skid on the road ataupun sway, whatever you want to call it. Kita tak nak air bertapung atas jalan raya. So air mesti run off the paved surface. A minimum cross fall is 1/40. This is the ratio. It's generally for urban roads and motorways. This is the gradient of 140 and 160 common specification. Runoff water is directed towards the edge of the road, dekat tepi, where drainage channels are, and finally discharge into the surface drain. So you have masuk dalam open drainage, macam saya cakap tadi, monsoon drain, semula roadside drain. We have different types of drain. So, kalau you tengok dekat bawah ni ada closed drainage. Okay, so ada subbase, adalah kat sini dia punya RCC drain. Macam sekarang ni rainwater harvesting, diorang dia tadah air dekat dalam tanah. It's called surface runoff, if I'm not mistaken. Surface runoff rainwater collection, something like that. So dia ada like bawah tanah. So dia retain water dekat situ. Bila sungai dah reda ke apa, nanti diorang akan pump out keluar daripada situ ataupun diorang akan guna untuk siram pokok. It depends on the local authority. Kalau macam di BKL, because Kuala Lumpur we have many high-rise buildings, right? Because the land in Kuala Lumpur is scarce, limited. So di BKL, siapa yang buat high-rise building, dia panggil retention. Kalau kat sini kita ada retention pond, dekat sana dia ada panggil detention, it's not pond, detention tank. If I'm not I tengok bila nak mengajar dah lupa nama dia, but it's detention. So bila hujan dia akan simpan air dalam detention tu, bila dah habis nanti dia akan release air kat dalam detention tank. Itu di KL punya requirements sebab dia ada banyak high rise building, and dekat KL banyak konkrit, so air semua lari masuk sungai, sungai penuh. Okay. Ada lagi satu kan KL tu tanah dia, especially dekat Ampang area. Ini nak cerita sebab tanah next semester lah. Tak larat lah cerita exam ni. Cuma dah sebab dah cakap, dah mention tu, tanah dekat situ bawah dia macam cheese, lubang. Bawah tanah dekat KL tu, basically tanah dekat KL sebenarnya tak kuat. I cakap you know, dia orang buat atas gua, dia ada masalah sebab sama jugalah bawah tu dekat my friend is building a house in Jalan Ampang. Bawah tu tanah dia, bila dia orang buat soil investigation, they found tanah dia macam cheese, lubang. In which I have told him before they buat soil investigation, I cakap tanah bawah ni mesti macam berapuh, you have many limestone, that area memang banyak limestone. Sekali bila buat soil investigation, kontraktor tu cakap dengan dia, tanah bawah ni macam cheese. Cheese means lubang. Penat. Road marking. So road marking, you pernah tengok orang buat lines and signages kan. Atas road ada arrow ke kanan, terus kanan. Kalau dekat UK we have chevalians, like arrow dia macam ni. So no, bukan chevalians, chevron. So bila drive tu dia akan cakap, bila ada chevron tu kita orang tak boleh dekat. So bila I drive, depan ada kereta, I kena ada 2 chevron. So maknanya dia tak nak I dekat mungkin kawasan tu kawasan accident. So dekat UK ada benda tu, kalau you nampak macam marking like macam tu, dia ada signboard lah, dia cakap keep 2 chevron, if I'm not mistaken it's called chevron. So kalau I drive, macam mana laju pun I drive, I tak boleh ikut dekat dengan kereta depan. So kena dua. Tapi kalau kereta dah makin slow, takkan nak 2 juga kan. So dia boleh dekat. It depends on the speed. Edge line, side line, parking line, stop line dekat sini. Kita ada zebra line, tapi orang Malaysia kadang-kadang tak reti nak stop dekat zebra crossing. Dia tetap dekat zebra crossing, kita tetap kena pakai traffic light juga sometimes. Kalau you tengok dekat IKEA depan tu, kena pakai traffic light. Sedangkan sepatutnya kena stop. Tapi orang Malaysia tak reti pakai zebra line. Directional, tapi I pandai. I orang Malaysia tu tak pandai. Directional arrow, yellow box, zebra crossing, text and drawings, symbol. So ini semua dekat atas jalan raya lah, sign. Okay, ini dia punya drawings. You can see your own drawings. Okay, they have different techniques. They can use the machine or the spray. Kalau you tengok on the top pictures, they use the spray to do the road marking. On the bottom left, dia guna machine yang dia tahulah dia punya line tu macam mana. And on the bottom is more like a manual thing. Dia letak dalam tu and then dia tarik. Okay. Special paint, of course. It's not macam emulsion paint you pakai esok lusa kena hujan dah hilang. It's not emulsion paint. Oh wow, look at that. I don't know where this is. It's not Malaysia, I think. It's so confusing. Malaysia nak drive? Too many marks on the road. So I don't know why is this. Oh my god, look at the markings on the road. Can you guys see? It's like ular. Kenapa dia tak buat cantik? Dia kan dia macam gini, takkan nak drive macam gini, macam gitu. So this is inefficient. Dia punya road markers is not efficient. This is what I can see. Where is this? It looks like in the UK. It looks to me like the UK. Sebab nombor plate dia warna kuning. Lori dia pun, kereta-kereta dia pun nampak macam dia somewhere in Europe, I think. They all look almost the same. Oh, look at that. Do you have a dead animal? Do you have like a dead animal there? I can see macam something terpenyek kat situ and you have the tail. So road markers malas nak layan agaknya, dia mark terus lah on the dead animal. So this is a good, these are good lines and sign on the road. So sama juga I rasa dekat belah bawah ni yang I'm pointing here is Australia or UK, I do not know. So stop, it's supposed to be bus stop, isn't it? Oh, this salah spelling. Stop, it's supposed to be bus stop. Right turn, it's supposed to be RIGHT, but they spell it with turn. Bump, it's supposed to be bump, but dia jadi bug, like rapper punya kataan. School, SCH, dia salah eja. Keep clear, dia salah eja jadi keep clear. Funny people. Ni, atas ni lagi lah funny. You have yellow and white. What does it supposed to mean? Okay, road signages, you have dekat Malaysia, you ambil lesen kereta dah kan? So dia ada macam-macam signages. I'm not going to teach this. Ni you belajar, kalau you tak belajar lagi, pergi ambil lesen kereta. You need lesen kereta. You perempuan ke, you lelaki je ke, you go and take license. Because it's important nowadays. Okay. Oh, I just want to say something about the signages. You tahu tak, masa I went to Australia with students, I went Australia with students. We saw boards yang macam dia tunjuk koala bear and kangaroos. So that's normal in Australia kan, sebab dia punya hutan jalan nak pergi like from 7 officers to Grampians. We saw a big koala bear on the road even. So logic lah dia ada like signboard untuk koala bears, untuk apa tadi dia cakap, kangaroos, wallabies. Dekat Malaysia kita tak ada kan, adalah gambar berhati-hati, ada gambar lembu ke apa, kerbau. Tak ingat. Tapi it's very rare kalau you datang kat Sri Skandar, kalau you nak pergi ke parade, itu first time I tengok signboard hati-hati ada monyet. Memang ada gambar monyet. I rasa I sepatutnya ambil gambar tu. Kalau you balik Sri Skandar next semester, kalau you ada kereta atau motor, you pergi dekat daripada UiTM ada Puncak Iskandar, pada Puncak Iskandar jalan nak ke parade tu. You tak payah sampai hujung pun, you sampai kat depan tu je, boleh nampak dah signboard monyet. I think it's a bit funny but kawasan tu memang banyak monyet. I dah pernah lalu banyak kawasan monyet tapi tak ada signboard. That area memang dia ada letak signboard. Monyet tengah itu. Machinery used in road construction, so different contractors will use different machinery. Sometimes they do not have the technology, so they use a simpler machine. But if they have the technology, they use more sophisticated machine. So these are the machine: air track drill, cold planners. Dia apa tu, dia letak semua tu. Back pusher, we have back pushers in Malaysia. Graders, we have bob, we have compactors, we have different types of compactors, we have different tons of compactors. This is pneumatic tire compactors, padded drum compactors, tired roller, tandem roller. There are so many types of roller. Ni you selalu tengok kan, yang tepi jalan tu kan, dia buat pakai this thing and then they roll sebab dia nak spreadkan benda tu, but this is manual. Manually they do it. Mesin yang tak payah guna orang macam ni, dia ada untuk spreadkan benda tu. Oh, water tanker macam saya cakap tadi, dia nak kena bagi basah jalan raya tu for curing. Ini kalau dia letak bituminous binder, lepas tu dia akan roll dengan compactor. Ini saya pernah tengok dekat jalan raya dia orang pakai. Ini dia punya surface tadi lah, surface wearing course tadi. Ini semua you pernah tengok. Lepas tu bitumen sprayer dekat atas tu. Ini sprayer selalunya dekat atas, subgrade pun you buat. Okay, ataupun manually pun boleh buat. So that's about it really for roadworks. Any question? Let's go back here. Any question please?